In the quiet of a Norwegian morning, as the mist rolled off the fjords and the world around him began to stir, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer found himself at a crossroads once more. The phone call had come days earlier, the one that made him pause. On the other end of the line was an opportunity that would have brought him back to the front lines of football management, but this time not with a club, but with a nation Denmark, a team on the rise had come calling. It was no small offer. Either Solskjaer knew the significance of managing a national team, but as he sat in the stillness of his homeland contemplating the decision, he knew in his heart that now was not the time. The Denmark national team would have to wait for the man who had lived through the highs and lows of football's unforgiving stage. There was something else on the horizon. It had been nearly 3 years since that dark November day when his tenure at Manchester United came to an end. 3 years of silence, of reflection and of waiting. Now the world wondered what his next move would be. The year was 2021 and the cold November air had a biting edge in the city of Manchester. The pressure had been building for months. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the hero of 1999, who had secured his place in United's history books with that famous last-minute goal in the Champions League final, found himself facing a different kind of battle, one where no last-minute heroics could save him. The day had started like any other, but as the final whistle blew on United's 4-1 defeat to Watford, it felt like the end. The defeat was crushing, but more than that, it symbolised the end of an era. Solskjaer had been given the reins at one of the biggest football clubs in the world, entrusted with the task of bringing glory back to Old Trafford. For a time it seemed like he might succeed. There had been moments of brilliance, moments that echoed the United of old, but those moments had become fewer and farther between. In the days following the defeat, the whispers grew louder, the headlines were relentless, the speculation constant, and then it happened. The board called him in, and just like that it was over. The announcement was made, and Solskjaer was no longer the manager of Manchester United. As he walked away from Old Trafford that day, Solskjaer knew he had given everything he had. But in football, sometimes even that isn't enough. The months following his departure from Manchester United were quiet. For a man who had spent so much of his life in the spotlight, it was a strange feeling. Solskjaer returned to Norway, to the place where his football journey had begun. It was a time for reflection, a time to heal, and a time to decide what would come next. There were offers, of course. Football never forgets its own, and Solskjaer's name still carried weight, but he wasn't ready. The wounds from his time at United were still fresh, and he needed time to understand what had gone wrong and to figure out how to move forward. He spent his days with his family, the people who had supported him through every triumph and every setback. He watched his children grow, relishing the moments that he had missed during his years in the dugout. And all the while, the football world continued to turn. United moved on, new managers came and went, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer remained on the outside, waiting for the right moment. For many, Solskjaer's legacy will always be tied to that night in Barcelona in 1999 when his last gasp goal secured the treble for Manchester United. It was the moment that defined his playing career, a moment that will forever be etched in the history of the club, but Solskjaer's story doesn't end there. His time as a manager, both at Manchester United and elsewhere, has been marked by ups and downs, triumphs and setbacks. Yet through it all, he has remained steadfast, never losing sight of the values that made him the player and the man he is today. As Solskjaer looks to the future, he does so with a sense of purpose. He knows the road ahead won't be easy, but he's ready for the challenge. The Denmark job may not have been the right fit, but somewhere out there a new opportunity awaits. And when it comes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be ready. For now, the world watches and waits, eager to see where the next chapter of this footballing legend's journey will take him.